Before I view this book, I do want to apologize to you in advance.
Okay.
So
Oh, wasn't he was fighting some like clan dude or some shit or something, so
yeah,
some southern shit. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. That's why I'm saying I'm gonna apologize in advance before I review this book. So
Okay.
we're just gonna just jump into it. That Eli gave the description. That's what happened. He fought some Klansman or white man, and now some other dude popped out of nowhere called the Buffalo
Yeah.
Soldier that
Super
can shoot
Grand
through
Wizard or whatever.
vibranium. Yeah. So yeah. So let's get into it. All right. All right. So like I said, so the dude is named the Buffalo Soldier. This is the main bad guy of this story right
Oh
here.
yeah, the Buffalo Soul. That's okay. Talk about
Yeah. So and basically he had all his guns and weapons can shoot through vibranium. You know, he was like, "Oh, would look at you in that Purdy suit?" You know, and he said, "Purdy, the fuck you talking about? I'm the king of Wakanda." So he tries to get at him and gets the shit slapped at him. So Black Panther gets his ass beat by this dude the entire book. So you can imagine how people feel about that. That already don't like what they're doing to T'Challa lately. So kick the shit out of him. And he was like, "Oh well, it didn't matter if I can get to this generator that Shuri sent me. I'm gonna send him back to his home planet anyway." And before he gets there, dude shoots through it and like bam. And T'Challa like, "Wait, that was vibranium. How the fuck you shoot through that?" He didn't know that he could shoot through vibranium, but now he knows. So he's like, so yeah, 9 points are gonna hit him, and he's like, "Oh shit, if he can shoot through that thing, he can shoot through me also. So I need to dodge his bullets." Meanwhile, the Avengers are fighting off his army that's trying to like take over, colonize the earth and shit like that. And he just talking to him. He's like, "Why don't y'all just chill out, Avengers? Why don't you just come over here and you can have your pick of any of my concubines, including you, Carol Danvers, have one." And concubines is like, "Avengers, if you free us, we will kill this motherfucker for you right now." You know, but they talking in their language so they can't hear him. So they talking and stuff like that, blah blah. Yeah. Still fighting. They're not getting anywhere. Cap's getting pissed. He's like, "T'Challa, answer me. Why haven't you gotten rid of these guys yet?" Because he was supposed to go to Shuri and get this generator. Supposed to send these guys back to the planet. And T'Challa like, "I'm busy," while running from the Buffalo Soldier while he's shooting the shit out of him. He was saying, "T'Challa, what the fuck? You supposed to have gotten this shit done by now." He's like, "Well, my shit got destroyed." He's like, "Well, find another plan." He's like, "Aren't you the leader of the Avengers?" He was like, "I thought you were the leader of the Avengers. Didn't we say that?" You're like, "Yeah, I am." He's like, "Okay, I'm gonna come up with another plan." He calls Shuri, and Shuri is in a parliament meeting right now. And basically he calls Shuri. She's like, yeah, I'm in a meeting with the Democratic Republic of Wakanda right now. They're basically repealing everything you've ever done to T'Challa, and they're shitting on you hard, big bro. They don't want your ass. You're like, T'Challa, like, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I needed one of those generators that you sent me earlier. And I'm fighting some dude called a Buffalo Soldier, whatever that fuck that means. He's like, well, I don't know anything about a Buffalo Soldier from that planet, but I can see you a Wikipedia page of the Buffalo Soldiers that we have, and maybe you can make a connection. I don't know. You're like, cool. So T'Challa goes through all the wiki pages that he sent to the Buffalo Soldier, and T'Challa like, oh shit, this is fucked up. I didn't know about all this shit. And sure is just like, reading is fundamental. You learn your history, brother. She's like, I'm out. I got shit to do. Remember, he getting shot and shit. And she's like, I found you, kitty. Here, kitty, kitty. And T'Challa like, oh, you ain't finna keep disrespecting me. So he runs at him again. You know what happens? Catches him, takes out his vibranium knife, slashes him in the chest. He's like, I'm gonna skin this cat. So basically, T'Challa, anytime he goes to him, he's just gonna get fucked up. He's like, I'm about to kill you like we killed the Muggabees. He's like, what the hell is a Muggabee? He's like, they don't exist anymore because we killed them. He's like, well, what happened to him? He's like, well, let me tell you a story. So here's a story about the Muggabees. So back on his home planet, they shared the planet with this other race called the Muggabees. They look different, but they got along just fine. They shared stuff, whatever, like that, blah, 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 stuff like that. Anyway, the colonizer, whatever you want to call them, showed up. And he talked to the Buffalo Soldier and his people. He was like, hey, the Muggabees are secretly against y'all, and they want y'all gone. So, but with our help, we can help you get rid of them. So they gave them weapons, train them on how to use them. And it was like, okay, all you got to do is just kill the Muggabees for us. You can keep the weapons. So they killed all the Muggabees, ran them off their land, stuff like that. And basically all their resources they gave to the colonizer. It was like, cool. So we got all this stuff. He was like, well, all you didn't. So you turned on your own people because the colonizer told you to do it. Like, you just following orders. He was like, okay, yeah, that's dumb as hell. He was like, well, let me tell you a story about our Buffalo Soldiers. And then we go back to real history. He was like, so the Buffalo Soldiers in America were free slaves that joined the U.S. military, you know. But what the U.S. military did when they expanded to the frontier was use them to kill off anybody and take their land. See, that's where it all comes back full circle, you know. So basically saying like they use their freedom to take freedom away from others. So you're no better than that. He's like, what do you know about that, King T'Challa? Aren't you a king? Don't you tell people what to do and then they tell them to do it? You're like, well, yeah. So like, so what you know about free will? You're like, okay, well, I'm gonna give you a choice. Instead of telling you about free will, I'm gonna show you about free will. I choose not to fight you anymore. Whatever you do next is on you. You have free will to do whatever you want. He's like, move, kitty cat, before I shoot your ass. You're like, I'm not moving. Like, bam, shoots him. You're like, what the fuck you do? You're supposed to move out the way. Why didn't you move? He was like, because I chose not to. Just like you chose to shoot me. I was trying to show you that every choice has consequences. So he's looking around what he did. He realized that he's doing the work for the colonized. He was like, well, fuck it. I'll help the colonizer, you know, get him off the planet. So he starts shooting everybody, taking out the aliens and shit too. Meanwhile, Shuri sends over a drone with one of those generators. It drops, send everybody back. They're gone. You know. Meanwhile, the Buffalo Soldier actually killed by those aliens. He didn't kill enough of them, so they're gone. And he cries, wishing he could have did more. You know. Meanwhile, the Avengers look at the colonizer. They were like, all right, what the fuck you do? You got to take your ass back. And his concubines are telling him, the little guy is the one in control. She's like, oh, well, have better, ladies. So they beat the shit out of him. And Carol walks off with his ivory tie. And that's it. Meanwhile, they go back to the Avengers base. And, you know, Shuri fixes Steve's shield. It's basically saying, look, I feel like I'll never understand. So, oh, yeah, T'Challa got patched up by Wakandan scientists and shit. And she's like, I feel like I'll never understand T'Challa. He's like, with everything T'Challa going through, I don't think he understands himself. The end. So, yeah, so T'Challa's going through this whole identity crisis because he lost his best friend and the war dogs turned on him. And, you know, Steve don't trust him anymore with the Avengers and shit. So, yeah, what a bad story. Everybody's pissed because T'Challa's not, you know, whooping ass from beginning to the end, you know, but hey.
Why, yeah.
So people are gonna be pissed no matter what you do. So yeah. So, but learn something about the Buffalo Soldiers. It's funny to look at the Buffalo Soldiers in that lens because we was always taught that they were, you know, our heroes. When you look at it through that lens, it's kind of fucked up, you know.
Yeah.
So.
No, like no, no. There's I was taught that that they were like
stormtroopers.
Basically, yeah, they were just following orders, but to pity them, basically, you know.
It's different. Like I said, we hear it's the same people, but we hearing two different stories about them. So yeah.
Yeah. I guess when like from the, I mean, I don't even know how accurate this is, but I've heard stories that they were referred to as Washichu Sapa,
which means
black white man.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Because they were doing the same thing, you know, that the soldiers were doing. You know?
Right. And of course, since they're black soldiers, we already know that the army sent them in first.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, but you know, it's complicated. It's complicated.
History is complicated. Right?
Yeah,
We want everything to be black and white, we want everything to be clean cut, but it's not, you know.
So yeah, I mean, yeah. But no, I appreciate the apology.
Yeah.
Not that I was offended by it, but
right.
But no, it is interesting that they brought that up and that they did actually go into that.
You know, I'm almost curious. I got to go back and look what people are saying about Black Panther books now. Are they pissed off about that? You know, now they're kind of painting the Buffalo Soldiers in a bad light. You know,
yeah.
Maybe people get pissed off about that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I mean, everybody like I grew up. I was taught that Custer was a piece of shit, and we were proud because my tribe was, you know, well, there was an alliance of tribes. What my tribe was one of the alliance that killed Custer and the 7th Cavalry, and I grew up my whole life, you know, being proud, like fuck Custer, we whooped his ass. And then it wasn't until I was like older that I found out that America revered Custer as a hero,
right?
Who like went out in a blaze of glory and shit. I'm like, what The fucking
Well, be honest with you, when I read the history books, I was like, "What? Didn't this guy get his ass whooped? Why are we praising him?" I mean,
yeah, like he like went out in a blaze. He like his last stand, his heroic last stand and shit. And he had this romantic image of Custer like going out in a blaze of glory when that whole battle lasted like maybe 10 minutes because the Indians had guns. So yeah, it's just weird that like the history. I mean, it's weird that that book Earth Divers that I reviewed last week about the Christopher Columbus and stuff, and them going back in time, and that's like one of the themes of the book is the history that we're taught. Is it right? Is it true? And you find out that yes, history isn't,
or sometimes like skewed through a different lens, different point of view.
History is written in favor of the of the winners and to make them look better, and that's kind of what we were taught. And then you find out that's not really what happened. So I'll commend this book for actually going into that. So even though I didn't read it, though.
You didn't read it. Maybe that's why you liked it, because you didn't read it.
Yeah, I kind of gave up a couple issues ago. I was like, yeah, I'm just not feeling this anymore. And yeah, sorry.
No, I understand. I completely understand.
Well, I know you didn't like it. Like you were like,
I have to.
You have to.
It's like eating vegetables, man. It's like, okay, I read another Black Panther book.
Damn
Shit.
Brussels sprouts, like
right. Got to do it for the culture, man. So
yeah.